Hi, good morning everyone. Let's get started with the next topic for this training session, which is on SUIM. Basically, this is one of the reporting tool, you can call it. It's a transaction code, and you can type this T code and it will show you the different type of reports which is available. Okay, here you can see that you have a report by user, by role, by profile, by authorization objects, by transactions. You can do comparison as well. You can use where used list, change document. So these are some of the key things that can be done. So in users, we'll see what is available, that is what type of report can be generated for a particular user. Okay, same thing you'll see for the roles, that is what are the roles which is there, what are the profiles which is there, and there are complex algorithm or complex combination of filters which we can apply and generate some sophisticated report as well. Okay, plus you can see at the bottom you have change document. Change document is like what has changed. Say for example, in case if suppose customer says I was using this document and this is changed, or my authorization is changed, so we can use the change documents that will tell that whether is there any change in the authorization for a particular user. For now, let's expand this particular user role. Okay, in this what you are seeing here is that it's basically you are seeing the users by address data. Okay, you can see by complex selection criteria. So for now, let's click users by address data. Here basically you can see this is the address related information, and if I just click on the execute button over here, I can see the tons of users listed. Basically it is showing that okay, these are the different users which is available. Okay, then let me go back and let's go to the different report, that is users to compare selection, basically complex selection criteria, where we can create the report. Basically here you can see that users by complex selection criteria, we can give the user names or group names, or basically there are different values. By authorization object, we can say okay, this authorization object, who else is, who are the people who is having this authorization object. So if I just execute it, basically here we can define complex criteria. We can say okay, which users is having object this XYZ. Okay, so that is about the users. Okay, the next thing is here you can see you can have by profile, that is user is having profile X, profile Y. By transaction code, that is user is having particular transaction. Say for example, we can find out how many users have this particular transaction, that is SU01. Okay, so it will give a report of how many users is having this transaction. Okay, the next thing is we can generate different complex report as well. Okay, so this is basically a kind of reporting tool. It's quite comprehensive reporting tool where you can have we can generate report based on multiple filtering criteria, multiple criterias, that is by user ID, by role which is assigned, by profile name, by multiple profiles. Okay, by object, that is you can have by multiple objects, combination of object, that is object 1, 2 and 3, object XYZ. Okay, by group. So you can generate different type of complex reports based on these criterias which is available. Okay, so that is by complex criteria. Okay, so we have seen report by address data, by complex criteria. Okay, there is a report by user ID, by role. Okay, so by role is also pretty important. Basically you can say okay, how many users is having a particular role. So just give the role name and it will tell okay, these are the users is having these many roles. So that is one criteria. Say for example, anything starting with Z, how many users is having T code starting with role starting with Z. So basically these are the Z roles. So we can find out which user is having this particular Z role. Okay, so this is how we can generate multiple complex reporting based on SUIM. So we have seen that for a user, what type of report we can generate. We can generate report based on the user data, user address, user roles which is assigned. Here in this particular case, it is the same thing, that is by role, that is which roles are assigned for a particular user. Same thing goes for profile, by authorization, that is authorization values. Okay, so by transaction. So basically these are the complex reports that is available and which can be assigned to the users, which can be seen by auditors or by management to see, okay, what type of authorization object is there, how many people is having critical objects, and all that information about users. Same thing goes for the roles as well, that is we can do a complex reporting for a role, that is we can find out the roles which is having, say, user 1 with the assignment of user ID. Okay, so that is one criteria, that is without user assignment, that is which roles is not assigned to any users. Okay, so we can say, okay, these which roles are assigned to, say, XYZ users. So it will tell that, okay, these users, what roles is assigned to them. Okay, selected roles is, these are the 2 roles which is there. So basically in this reporting interface, you can see there are tons of different filtering criteria, filtering report that on which the report can be generated. Same thing goes for the profiles as well. So here the key thing is you can find out, okay, which people, which users is having, say, profile SAP all. Okay, next thing is authorization, that is by authorization object, by last change, by values. So we can find out based on the authorization. So by authorization object as well we can find out the report. So basically these, in this reporting interface, these are pretty common reports, especially report by user, by role, by profile, by complex criteria. Also here we can compare the users. Say if a user says that I don't have role this or this, so you can compare users. Okay, you can compare roles as well. Say for example, if I want to find out what is extra in this particular role, I can generate a role comparison. Then you can use the where used list. So that is particular role, where it is used, which role, this particular role, where all it is used. So we can find out where used list. We can use the where used list for it. Okay, so basically you have seen the report by user, by role, by profile, by authorization object, okay, by transaction, by comparison, by where used list, and by change documents. Change document, you can see for users what is changed, for authorization defaults what is changed, for security policies what is changed, for roles what is changed. Okay, so for profiles what is changed, so for role assignment what is changed. So basically this is also pretty important factor to find out if a user complains that, okay, this particular report, it was working till yesterday and I cannot use it today, so we can use the change documents. Okay, so that is pretty much I wanted to cover in this particular training session. Thank you for joining and have a nice day. Bye bye.